All right, today we are joined by two very more special guests helping us celebrate the 200th episode of Two Black Nerds. We are joined by the gentlemen from the Unqualified Heroes podcast. We got both of them on today. Both Danny and Messi are here to help us talk about the MCU. Fellas, how you doing today?
Pretty good, pretty good. Happy to be
I'm
here, man.
blessed. Yes, sir. Congratulations, 200.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It is definitely a cause for celebration. And we wanted to, get you guys on to get your thoughts about the MCU. That's really what this entire episode is about. We're talking to a lot of people about their current feelings on the modern day Marvel Cinematic Universe, because I think we can be honest about it. They've stumbled a little bit. There's been some challenges. It hasn't been maybe as great as we would hope it to be. But before we dive into like the specific topic that you all will be addressing, I just want to start really quickly here and get your quick summation of your feelings about the current MCU. If you had to boil it down to just like a quick sentence, just a quick statement on how you feel about the MCU, it could be as simple as "I hate it." It could be whatever you're feeling. What would that statement be? What would those sort of words encompass of how you feel? Let's start with Messi. We haven't had you on yet, so let's start with you to get your feelings about the MCU right now.
I'm just gonna quote you what you just said right now. I hate it. MCU after Phase 3 ended, we didn't know where it was gonna go. Obviously, they said Secret Wars and Avenger, the Kang Dynasty, but we don't really know what's happening now with Jonathan Majors. Apparently, it's trials by the end of the week. We don't know what's happening with him. But I just hate that there's not really a plan, quote unquote. They planned it out years ago on D23 and then on the other big event, but everything keeps falling apart. So, yeah, I just hate it.
Danny, what about you?
Oh, if I could sum it up into one word, it would be lackluster.
Lackluster.
It's just like
Word.
there's a couple highs up there, but overall, like how I'm feeling about this it's just lackluster. It's not there.
I don't know about y'all, but when somebody tells me something is lackluster that I'm responsible for, that makes me feel real bad. I'm like, damn, I gotta really step up and like get on top of my game. But I can't disagree. I can't disagree. I think a lot of us are starting to feel that way, especially as it relates to certain projects. But let's dive into the topic specifically that we're going to be talking about in this segment. And that's the fact that because of the changes and the evolution of where we are now with Phase 4 and Phase 5, of course, which is the current phase that we're in, they're in a bit of a rebuilding phase, introducing a lot of new characters, right? And alongside with that, we have lost some of our notable franchise players that we used to have. Obviously, Tony Stark is dead. He's gone as Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr. is sort of retired from that role. Chris Evans as Captain America pretty much has hung up his shield and is no longer in that role. We've lost Black Widow. We've lost a lot of those pillars, a lot of those characters that were around. I think it was just super identifiable to say like that's an Avenger or that's a leader of the MCU. Now, I don't know about you guys, but it doesn't necessarily feel that way anymore. What would you say to that concept, that idea that there just might not be a face to the MCU anymore to the same sort of degree in which we saw with Robert Downey Jr. Like we don't really have a presence there to just sort of point to and say like, well, we know we're going to see that person in the next 3 or 4 projects. We're kind of just figuring out along the way who we're going to, I guess, establish a relationship with. Danny, how do you feel about that particular sort of current state of affairs with the MCU?
So I think it's something that's super important that they haven't necessarily addressed. And granted, yes, they have a quote unquote plan of how they want to do this with the Kang Dynasty and then Secret Wars. But the reason why this is an issue is because if you were to think about a sports team or even like a very popular business, it always has like that face. Like even whatever, Jake from Steak Farm, Progressive, you got the flow from Progressive, like you got the face of something that you think about. Whenever you think about Marvel now with Phase 4 or Phase 5, you don't have that face, and whenever you don't, it brings down the whatever it is. And right now it's bringing down Marvel that you don't have a face, and tying into a much larger issue at point. But I think the reason for this is primarily that there hasn't been the big team up movie. because whenever we think about Phase 1, we had Iron Man. When Iron Man came out, first off, that was like the very beginning of the MCU. So definitely we weren't thinking about Iron Man being a face at that point, or anything that we would have gotten at like when Iron Man came out. Then Captain America came out a little bit later. Still, we weren't thinking of him necessarily the face of the Avengers. Like, it was just kind of because it was just so early into the process. We didn't necessarily get that until Avengers 1. And that was with the big team up with the characters that were introduced at the time. And it was like, okay, I can identify you, and you are the face of Marvel, or at that current moment. There hasn't been that movie, so you can't necessarily, because they're all scattered all over the place, you can't necessarily identify, yep, you are the face, and it's hard to move forward with a team or with a collection of people when you can't have that identification.
Mm-hmm. I think a large majority of the movies in the Infinity Saga, a lot of those storylines eventually found their way through Iron Man and Captain America somehow, some way. I think all roads sort of pointed back to those two pillars and really connected to them. Messi, does it bother you that we don't really have that anymore? Just the fact that there's not a big two or a big three that we're always sort of following and really developing a strong relationship with? Because I think it becomes a bit of a challenge when we're getting character appearances maybe like 6 or 5 years apart. Like, we don't know the next time we might see anybody, depending on just the time and the calendar and when things come out.
To be honest, I am not mad about it. I'm not about that we haven't found a leader or per se a face, because yes, of course, we love the Phase 1, 2, and 3. And even though I am not a big fan of Phase 4 because we don't know where it's leading up to, that's my problem with that. But other than that, I'm not really that mad that we haven't found a face, because if you just read comics and up to books, and then all different artists, you don't really focus on who's the leader. You just focus on the storyline of the specific character. So we're getting a lot of stories of like all around the place right now. We just don't know where it's leading up to. Yeah, I mean, we're mad about that, but I'm just enjoying the ride of what's going on at the moment. Like, just like Guardians of the Galaxy, more to be more specific, that was a great story, but there's no really like a leader of the Avengers per se. So yeah, so I'm not really that mad about that part of after Phase 3, but I do get your point. There's not really like a person that you have to look up to. It's like, okay, this person is the person who's gonna save us. Like with Iron Man, he saved the whole world basically. So yeah, I'm not I'm not too mad about that. Yeah,
for sure. You kind of alluded to like a question I was gonna follow up for you, Des. I was gonna ask, like, what are the possible benefits of not having central characters, like not having those figureheads that all the storylines and all the roads sort of lead back to them, but instead doing something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say fragmented, because that sounds a little negative, but it does offer a wider breadth of having just multiple characters, and we're not really pinpointing a focus on one, whereas we're trying to figure out a way to spread the wealth across a bunch of new characters that are being introduced.
You know, I think it makes a widespread for, I think, things for people to be excited about. I think everyone has their own favorite characters. Everyone has their own favorite groups within just Marvel in general, not even necessarily the MCU. And I think I like that, the idea of sometimes of things being fragmented, because it gives a chance, I think, for everyone, for the fandoms to be heard, right? Does that make sense? You've seen so much Iron Man, Captain America, Thor. There's probably so many people who don't want to see those characters all the time as much as they did. You know what I mean? They probably did want to see some more of the other characters a little bit more widespread. So I think there is a little bit of benefit in being able to say, hey, let's go explore this character over here who doesn't get talked about enough, because I'm sure there's somebody who really likes them. For instance, let's say somebody really likes Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. Let's go with Captain Marvel. Let's say somebody really likes Captain Marvel. This is their time to shine. They probably, with Phase 1, 2, and 3, were like, okay, this is cool, but I'm here until Captain Marvel is here. Now is their time to shine, and they're able to watch her movies, to watch Captain Marvel, to watch the Marvels when it comes out, and be excited about that. Versus if we have a face right now, we'd be like, oh, let's pretend like the face right now is Doctor Strange. They'd be like, oh, here comes another Doctor Strange movie. I guess we don't get to see Captain Marvel as much as I would like to. You know what I mean? Because there's only so much time and space that can be taken up by some of these movies. So I think there is small benefit in exploring other characters in different points in time and not having a face. I think there really is benefit in that, depending on who your fans are, right? And I think you have versatility in fans. And so I think the same way, I think you can have versatility in storylines, the way you operate some of these movies as well.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of a tricky balance because I definitely hear what you're saying, that provides new opportunity to new characters that we haven't had really a chance to develop a relationship with. But then at the same time, like every time I go on the internet, every time I go on YouTube, people are like, "Well, when's Chris Evans coming back? When's Robert Downey Jr. going to come back?" Like eventually they're going to pop up back up in Secret Wars. It's like I think we still have a craving to see those characters again because they were so good. And by and large, their movies and their appearances and performances were so good. But conversely, on the flip side of that, we have seen franchises, DC, constantly go to the well over and over and over again with the same characters. And it's like, well, come on, can we get somebody new? But I don't know. I just wonder if it's good, does it even matter? And can we do both? And it feels like we're not necessarily doing both at this point. We're largely focusing on all the new characters, but we don't have an Avengers team. And I might be one of the only people beating this drum over and over. But where the hell are the Avengers? Like, where's my damn Avengers team? Like, I really want to know where they at. Like, you can't tell me that out of all of these events that have happened over the course of 20 different projects now, that we haven't thought that the Avengers are necessary at some point. Danny, has that been a thing for you where you constantly just sort of wonder like, well, what does that team even look like? Who's going to be on it? Who's the leader? Because I think, again, clearly the former leaders were Cap and Iron Man. Is it Peter Parker? Doesn't feel that way. He's probably a little too young to be leading a team of adults. Is it Doctor Strange? I know Black Panther was a consideration. Chadwick Boseman and his passing kind of threw a wrench in that. I mean, what say you about just like the state of that team being sort of the centerpiece of just all the storytelling that can sort of fold into it and connect all these different, disparate pieces across the MCU?
I think me and Messi have talked about that a lot. That and the fandom at large, where when we were getting so many projects with Phase 4, we're like, "Where's this going?" Like it's just everyone's own separate storyline. And it's like, how does this person is going to meet up with this person? And whenever we get an Avengers movie, which I guess technically we're not getting one till way down the line with King Dynasty, which kind of mind blowing to me. But that's another thing. But it's like, how are all these people going to meet up, and is everyone going to be there, or is some people going to be left out because now there's like a stupid amount of characters at large just all over the place and different galaxies and all and whatnot. And so I don't really know. It's just like I kind of just want to see more of a connection. Like I guess slightly we're seeing little tidbits, but that's mainly with Kang. We're not necessarily seeing tidbits of like how the characters will connect. And personally, I have been wanting more of that, just for my sanity, just to see how things are going. And I don't think we've really gotten that.
Messi, do you think that the patience that we've had to exhibit for characters like Fantastic Four and X-Men to come in, do you think that that's been somewhat of a detriment that we've had to wait so long? Because I feel like those could be centerpiece characters. Like those are teams and characters that you can build an entire phase, an entire saga around, but we've had to wait. Like we just haven't gotten them. Is it time to like really start to like put your foot on the gas and like get to that stuff? Because again, I think that might point to like a potential future outlook in terms of like who the people are that we sort of rally around and can build entire movies and entire arcs around.
I mean, we're around the corner. 2024 is about to hit. They're released 2025. So I mean, right now with the strikes and all that stuff going on, I don't know if they're gonna even actually press the gas pedal on it, because one, there's no actors acting right now. But yeah, so if there was no strikes, we kind of need them right now. We kind of need those big characters, like you said, that they can be a whole face. We can focus on them, just like Captain America and Iron Man. They focus a whole face on those main characters with 1, 2, 3. So like with basically the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, they can have those faces with those specific characters and be good. right now with all these phases, with phase 4 and phase 3, phase 5, that's not really a direction that they're going for. And like basically the whole conversation is we don't have a leader yet. So yeah, I do want them to hurry up and bring those characters. I mean, whenever they show up, I think our anxiety is gonna go away because we're waiting for them characters to show up. So like we'll all this BS crap that we're talking about arguing is like, oh, we need this, we need that. It's just gonna go away as soon as we sit down watching Fantastic Four in the big screen. It's just gonna like all the problems is gonna go away. So it's gonna be worth it waiting for that moment.
I hope so. I hope that movie just cures all, and it's like we've been saved. Like our problems have been answered. This is a question for everybody. You know, I just want to know, like, who are the Avengers right now? Like, if you had to pick an Avengers team, let's go 6 or 7. You don't have to fill out every spot, but if we had like 6 or 7 spots, who's on that team right now? Who are the big heavy hitters?
Sam.
Yep.
Sam Wilson.
Doctor Strange. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Captain Marvel. In an asterisk. Put her in an asterisk because you know whatever the heck she be have going on.
Well, I was gonna ask which Marvel is it gonna be her or is it gonna be like one of like Kamala or?
Hey, that's a good question.
I think Kamala's got to be pretty important just because of the bangle. I would personally put Kamala in there.
Probably Young Avengers with her. Kamala with
that bangle. I feel like that's something to do with King.
Okay.
Shang-Chi.
I feel that.
Shang-Chi's an Avenger now.
Okay.
I feel like Wanda has to be in there somehow.
An Avenger after what she did?
I don't think so. I don't know if she operates in that realm anymore.
I mean, I kind of see.
I don't know.
I think She-Hulk is an Avenger now. I think She-Hulk is an Avenger now.
Daredevil, Spider-Man.
I don't think Daredevil's an Avenger.
Nah,
Daredevil not an Avenger.
Spider-Man for sure.
I don't think Spider-Man's an Avenger.
What?
Nope. Nobody knows who he is.
But they know of Spider-Man. They can meet him again.
They know
like, hey, what's up, dude?
Spider-Man.
My name is Tony Stark.
They can meet him again. Right now, if a movie came out, I really doubt Spider-Man would be in that movie.
No one knew who Spider-Man was except Tony Stark. So I mean,
sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Well, the Guardians kind of knew him.
I guess the Guardians kind of knew.
Yeah.
But like, who's gonna phone him up? You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna be like, hey, Spider-Man? I don't know.
Doctor Strange.
Strange is a big hitter.
In there. Yeah.
Strange is a hitter.
Wong. I mean, Wong was basically.
I have a theory. I have a theory that Mantis will end up being a current Avenger.
Interesting. This interesting theory.
I'm not mad at Mantis just based. I mean, incredibly powerful and incredibly useful. You know, and I think that could be some great chemistry.
Wong's
Been
the advisor. That's the advisor now.
Yeah. Well, I guess he is the Sorcerer Supreme. So
you know what I noticed about all these names that we just threw out? Nobody said Thor. Nobody said Hulk. The original OGs. Like, are they? Nope. They just not there?
Oh, Ant-Man. He's technically an Avenger, right?
Oh yeah, Ant-Man's definitely. Yeah. Ant-Man's definitely an Avenger.
He
got a whole biography.
Yeah, he's an Avenger, but yeah.
That's a good point. Thor not being there.
Well, Strange is in another realm. Thor's being a dad somewhere, and Hulk will also soon have to go be a dad. So I don't know what's going on.
I think the reason why those characters were not brought up is because the last time we saw them, they were a huge disappointment. That we don't want them to be continuing their roles as any part of. I mean, of course, they're gonna be part of it because they're hopefully with Chris. Was his diagnosed stuff that's going on with him? Hopefully, he doesn't get to that bigger problem, and then he can continue playing and acting. And Mark Ruffalo, he's down for anything. He is. I don't think he's busy right now.
He's usually around.
Yeah. They're gonna be around unless they kill him off before.
Shuri an Avenger.
Sure. Oh my god, I forgot about her.
That's a really that. But you know what?
I want to say yes so bad.
And I do too, but it's like, but is she though? It does that make sense?
Exactly.
She could be. She is
like we should be saying Shuri and Riri are automatic, but we can't say that. We can't say that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is also due to the fact that some of these things feel so different. Like, not only have they been like disappointments in the case of like Thor: Love and Thunder, the stuff that they did with Hulk, like not the greatest, but it's also like it feels weirdly disconnected from the bigger story that we're trying to tell. Like it's really hard for me to see Shuri alongside the Avengers at this point, just based on how things have gone and played out. Same thing with Riri and some of these other characters. I'm like, I don't even know if it tonally makes sense, like if that even works out. So I think to some of the other names that we were saying, like a Daredevil, maybe that doesn't make sense because like apparently that show's going to be super violent. It's going to, feel like the Netflix show, allegedly. I don't know. We'll have to see. But does that make sense alongside She-Hulk? Well, I mean, they already kind of boned, so maybe that does. They can just like get back up together. But you know what I'm saying? I think tonally, I think it's a big question, in terms of like what that looks like. But yeah, I definitely just wanted to like throw that out there to see and just like get that sort of thought exercise, because I think about it a lot, and I'm very curious to see like who's the actual team that comes together and what story purpose are they going to serve? Because you also have the Thunderbolts, which is like its own other thing, So I think a lot of those are probably going to be disqualified from being an official Avenger because they'll already be a part of that team. Our guests from Unqualified Heroes, before we wrap up today, got two very important questions to ask you. The first question being, based on, a lot of these conversations we've been having, based on some of these challenges and maybe some of your dissatisfaction with the MCU, what would you do to fix it? What would be your fix to get the ship steady, to get things in order, to make sure that they're going down the right path? If Kevin Feige hit you guys up and said, like, we really need your help, guys. Like, we need you to map out the future of the MCU to get us together. What would you do to fix it? Messi, let's start with you.
Well, if we live in a perfect world and there's no strikes, there's no people going to jail and nothing like that, I will probably set an end game, bring people that could actually be a leader point, or give that role to a specific character that we have seen the most on during phase 3 and 4, which is Doctor Strange and Wong. We've seen the most out of them too. I don't know, I have no idea how to fix it. I think I'll be fired.
Just give up. We're not fixing anything.
I have literally no answer because of what everything's going on right now. I have not even thought of like what we can do to fix the situation that's going on right now.
That's fair.
I guess just finding the basically what we were talking about, finding the leader. Let's pick that person. Let's volunteer this person, and you're stuck with it until you die.
I like that. Just go with it and just all in. We're just placing all our bets on that. Danny, what would you do if you had the keys to the kingdom? How would you fix the MCU?
If I had the keys to the kingdom, I'd fix a lot bigger problems with the MCU than essential characters. But if we were going with this specific topic, I gotta find more connectivity. If it's not adding a random ass like Avengers project into the middle of phase 5, which obviously is not the plan right now, it would just be everything that you come out with has to connect with other characters. I need to see another character show up in a post-credit scene, whatever it is. Like, obviously, it doesn't have to be there the whole episode, the whole show, but someone has to show up at the very end and have some sort of connectivity. So that we could like, okay, they've met, cool. Okay, they've met, cool. And then it gives me some sort of connectivity things. But I think there's just a lot larger issues with phase 4 and phase 5 than this. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, it certainly won't fix all the problems, but I do like the suggestions, like finding a leader, a face, at some point to really, sort of buy into, and then also just like creating more cohesiveness, because a lot of it has, I think, lacked that connectivity that we're used to. Last big question for you both. What are you looking forward to? What upcoming project are you the most excited about? It could be a movie, it could be a TV show, anything that they have coming down the pipeline, or anything, sort of blue sky that we've like heard about that hasn't been like officially confirmed. That stuff is at play too. But what would you say you're looking forward to the most?
I see.
Midnight Suns. They teased Midnight Suns long ago, and they started with Moon Knight. They're going with Werewolf by Night.
Yes.
They keep teasing Ghost Rider with either Keanu or the guy from Walking Dead. But I don't know. So they haven't really giving us more monsters or supernatural stuff like that. The last one was Werewolf by Night. They brought it back to Hulu with color. Still dumb. I don't know why they do that.
I didn't know they did
But
that.
yeah, they just I don't know why they brought.
No, it wasn't Hulu with color. It's gonna be on Disney Plus with color on October 20th.
It
So
just shouldn't
dumb.
be in
Whatever.
color at all. Like,
Just keep it how it is.
Yeah, it's so
Wow.
dumb. But in more realistic note, I'm excited for Loki. Loki's coming out in a few weeks. I saw the trailer. It looks super dope. I want to see what the heck is going on with the glitching type of thing. Is it connected to Cross the Spider-Verse or is it not? But yeah, Midnight Suns, man. I hopefully they bring it to live action.
I love that answer. Midnight Suns would fucking rip. That would be amazing.
Yes.
Danny, what are you most looking forward to? What project has you the most excited?
That was a very phenomenal answer, Messi. I'm gonna go with Deadpool 3. As much as like I'm excited for other projects in specific, Deadpool 3, one, getting the Hugh Jackman, like Ryan Reynolds connecting that we've kind of just been waiting for is gonna be really cool. Additionally, knowing that they're gonna essentially be like traveling against these multiverses, I guess, with like different people. I think we're gonna see a lot of cameos. And while movies and all just cameos, and we can have our gripes against that, it'll still be pretty fun to see. Oh, that's the old. I don't know what cameos are gonna be there, but like, oh, that's the old Fantastic Four. Or, oh, that's this person that was fan casted to be this character. And I don't know. I think it'd just be kind of fun to see essentially like that weird time area that we had in Doctor Strange 2. But yeah, Deadpool 3, I'm super excited for it. And it's rated R, so that's an additional plus.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on today. This was incredibly fun. We really, really appreciate you hopping on to celebrate our 200th episode. Before we let you go, let the people know where they can find you, what you got going on. Hand out all those socials so people can look for Unqualified Heroes.
Messi.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so on Qualified Heroes, we are on your basic platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and also on YouTube to listen and see us, and also to just follow us, comment, and share. Instagram, TikTok, and not Snapchat because we're not little girls. But yeah, those are the comment places that we are. Follow us, share, comment, and to you guys, congratulations. 200 is a big number.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, before we started, you mentioned your 100 episode was a Batman episode. That was our first episode ever.
Well, you're right. Heroes. I didn't forget about that.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you guys got your 100,
we got our number one.
Yeah.
Love that.
So yeah, so we cannot wait to get to our So we can't wait to get to our 200. Maybe we can do something similar to this and have you guys come into ours. But it was awesome. Thank you guys. It was an honor. And last time, we did the Across the Spider-Verse episode. My freaking Wi-Fi sucked, so I couldn't talk to you guys. But I'm glad that my Wi-Fi is working today, and I could talk to you guys today. So thank you guys.
Yes, thank you very much.
Of course. It's all love. We really appreciate it, of course. And yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. Like, obviously, you guys got anything going on, we can come back on. We definitely got to do another proper long form movie review at some point. There's a lot of good stuff coming out. But thank you both again for hopping on today. Really, really appreciate the time. And yeah, we'll catch up with y'all soon.
Thank you.
All right.